Hello and welcome. My name is Helen May. I'm a Senior Solutions Consultant for Symphony AI in our Enterprise IT team. Today, I'm here to talk to you about our Enterprise Copilot. Before we delve into Symphony AI and talk about the Copilot, I wanted to just give a little bit of background about AI. We've all played with ChatGPT. We've all seen the value of asking for train timetables or something like that. But how does that really transform into our day-to-day working life? There's many research papers and studies done on it, but I picked on this one from the Harvard Business School because it's working with 800 consultants doing their daily work. And what they've done is they've taken 18 different tasks. They've split the team into two groups. Half of the group is using AI and the other half is not using AI. As you can see from these results here, using AI saw benefits in terms of how many more tasks were completed, how fast each of those tasks were done, and a better quality in the output of those tasks. The other thing that I found really interesting was an analogy that the authors of the paper came up with, which was centaurs and cyborgs. So some people who were using AI were kind of using it as another part of themselves. So like a centaur, which is half man, half horse, they were half AI and half human. The other group of people were more like cyborgs. So cyborgs are just kind of integrated into it. It's like me using a headset. You don't know that I'm using a headset. It's just part of what I'm doing. So in the same way, they were using AI just part of their daily job. They didn't stop and think, do I do this with AI or do I do this with a normal way? So it's interesting to see how different people are adopting that AI. I'll come back to that analogy later, but before we do, let's just talk about Symphony AI. So Symphony AI was founded by Ramesh Wadhwani with a vision to accelerate revenue growth and productivity through AI. So AI is at the heart of everything we do within Symphony AI. We have a number of divisions covering retail, financial services, industrial, and the one that I'm part of and the one that I'm here to talk about today is our Enterprise IT team. So within Symphony AI, just to give you a little bit more information, the kind of things we're working on with, grocers and financial institutions and manufacturers all around the world. We're operating in 33 different companies. We've got over 2,000 employees and over 2,000 customers. Just to give you a little taste of some of those customers, as you can see, there's some names that I'm sure within Europe we recognize, the likes of Nationwide and Bosch, and things like McAfee or Deloitte and companies like that. So just to give you a flavor of who we're working with within Symphony AI. Moving into very much the Enterprise IT team and the Enterprise IT division, we are recognized by those analysts for things, for our solution. I think the one that we're really proud of is 5 years over. We have been recognized with the customer choice. So it's not just analysts who like us, but our users. So through that Peer Insights, we have won the Peer Insights Customer Choice Award within the Enterprise IT system. And what do we mean by Enterprise IT? So we start with the IT service management with reporting and analytics. We've got lots of business rules. Very key to our solution is a no-code, low-code. So that kind of maximizes productivity and minimizes total cost of ownership. We use that same no-code, low-code for enterprise service management. So not just IT service management, but also HR management or facilities and finance and legal. We've also got, using the same platform, enterprise asset management, service automation, so we can automate some of those services. And finally, what I'm here to talk about today is our generative AI Copilot, which I'm going to talk to you in more detail. So that Copilot brings you value for your users, and not just your end users, but your end users, your analysts, your leaders. So everyone can benefit, and you've got it 24 hours a day. You've got self-service, so you're not waiting for someone else to respond. It's more than a chatbot, as you'll see when I go through a demo. And then bringing back that Harvard Business School benefits. We've got faster resolution, we've got improved productivity. So this is what we're bringing for our Copilot for everything that we was talking about before, from those service management, asset management, within enterprise. So from HR, from finance, everything that we're using within our enterprise solution. I'm sure you want to actually see what I'm talking about. So let me go and bring up a demo so we can have a look at what we're providing. So this here that you're seeing here is our Apex Enterprise Service Management solution. We will have some future demos of Apex, our service management solution. In the future, we'll be setting up some more webinars, so I'll go into in a lot more detail. But today, we're just going to focus on the Copilot. And within Apex, we've got this big Copilot logo. So if I click on this, then we'll see our Copilot coming up and talking to me. So this is Ryan, as I say, an end user. So he can, as you can see, raise incidents and log requests and look at a knowledge base, knowledge articles. So let's think of Ryan. What he wants to do is he's going off to Germany on a business trip. For his business trip, he would like to have VPN access. So let him start and see, ask for that business access. So very simply, I'm saying I need VPN access. And our Copilot has found a catalog item for VPN access that requires this, that satisfies this requirement. I can say, yes, let's go along and look at that catalog. As you can see, we're using natural language, but it's pulling together some actions, not just responding with an answer. So it's told me what I need to do. I need to give it some remarks. I need to optionally give an end date and start date and say whether it's why I'm going, things like that. So I can say, so I'm not answering it in terms of remarks, this is the answer, end date, this is the answer. I'm using it just free form natural text as I'm entering this, what feels natural for me to do. And it's managed to pull out from that text everything that it needs to do and created a service request, given me the service request number, provided me a link so I can go and access it. So we can, there we are, we're setting up our VPN access. Ryan feels he's got his VPN access. He heads off to the airport. Whilst he's sitting at the airport waiting for his plane, he then tries to access his VPN and he finds out there's a problem. Straight away, he can go back into this. We can use it. We've got a mobile app, so we can use it on his mobile. And within his mobile, let's say, he then says that my VPN does not work. And a Copilot has gone out and has managed to find a knowledge article, and it's given Ryan some tips of what it can do to try and access this and trying to get it to work. Ryan tries all these things out, and nope, it didn't solve his problems. As you can see, it's also given us a link to the knowledge article, so I could have drilled in more and read it in more detail. But in this case, it didn't solve the problem, so it's created an incident for me. Again, it's performed an action for me. So all of this is within the IT system, but Ryan's just thinking he's heading over to Germany, and he'd like some good German beer and some Sauerbraten whilst he's over there. So how much can he spend on it? So, you know, what is my per diem for Germany? So in this case, we're not looking at the IT system. We're looking at the HR. We're looking at, as you can see, the global travel policy. So I've got a link to that, but it hasn't just given me, here's the travel policy. It's gone through, it's understood that Germany's in Europe, and it has a per diem of $60 a day, and tells me a bit more about what it's covering, you know, laundry and things. And the Copilot also understands, oh, if you're traveling to Europe, you're traveling to Germany, is there anything else I can help you with? Can I help you with accommodation expenses, for example? In this case, my accommodation's set up. I hope so anyway. I'm set at the airport, so it's a bit late if it hasn't. So I just say no, and we can go off and take my travel. So in this case, as an end user, it's given me, it's allowed me to create a service request. It's given me access when that doesn't work, and given me access to the knowledge articles on how to get that VPN working. It's then, when that didn't work, opened an incident for me and taken me outside of that IT system. It's then taken me to travel policies, HR issues, and allowed me to do those and look into those. Look at it from a different perspective. So this is Maxwell. Maxwell is an analyst. So his job is to deal with the tickets that Ryan raises and his colleagues. You can see, it's within Apex. It's a slightly different dashboard what we're looking at, but that Copilot logo is there. So we can have a look at that Copilot. It comes up in the same way. But in this case, I want to know, you know, start of my shift, what are my top tickets that I need to work on? So this is for me. It's like, what am I working on? And see what it comes up with. So it knows who I am. It's not just looking at a generic knowledge article. It's looking at what Maxwell has got to do. So it's pulling together what my top tickets are based on, you know, most recent ones, or it could be if I had a VIP incident or a critical incident assigned to me, it's giving me information about that. So this is probably Ryan's ticket here, which was raised, and it's given me some information on that. So Maxwell could spend some time playing with Copilot, asking it more questions, but Copilot exists within Apex in more kind of subtle ways. So Maxwell kind of feels you ought to get on and do some work. He's got this incident here, which has been resolved, but you know what it's like as an analyst. Typing up that resolution summary can take a bit of time. You know, we could type something really, really quick, like, oh, well, the license key is expired. We've updated that. But how about using our Copilot to actually generate that resolution summary? So what it's doing is looking back through a history of any conversations that have been going on between different analysts and different users and the end user and finding out, well, what was working, what was going on, and then come up with this resolution summary. So it's much quicker than trying to look through all that history of the ticket. It's much, that kind of points that we made from that Harvard Business School study. It's also given a better quality. So this is much more than that. Oh, it didn't work. It was a license issue. We've got details about, identified the problem. We looked for alternatives. We selected a new client, all those things. It's all within here. And if I had written something which was vaguely useful, I can append it to the solution, or I could totally replace that solution. So this is much more valuable for them. We've looked at the analyst, and they've been working within Apex. Now I'm a manager. I don't want to get bogged down into logging into a system and remembering my password because I've got so many different systems to do. I just want to look at it in my messaging system. My messaging system in this case is Teams. So here's our Copilot sitting here within Teams. So, how may I assist you? Hey, it's Teams. I want to chat. So it's like, how are you? That's what I do when I start a chat with someone, with my colleagues. So I treat Copilot in the same way. Unfortunately, it's like it doesn't have feelings, so it's just here to help me. But it's, it's nice to start that conversation. So what I want to know is just kind of like when I was Maxwell, I was an analyst. I wanted to know what tickets did I have assigned, but now I want to know what everyone's got assigned. I'm a manager, so what are the top? So what are the top incidents currently open? This is the kind of thing that a manager would need to know what's going on. Here it is. It's come back with the top 4 incidents that are currently going on. I kind of look at that and go, that top ticket kind of looks familiar. It looks as if it's been around for a while. It's been assigned to Kinjal here. But let me arrange a meeting. I think I'd like to look into that a little bit more. So again, just sitting here, just typing a message. So I'll ask it to arrange a meeting. So in this case, as you see, I haven't mentioned the name of the analyst. I've just said, go and find the analyst. So Copilot in this case is not just arranging a meeting. It is also not doing it. So it's also found that there's an issue with, in this case, Kinjal's email address. So he can't actually set up a meeting, but it's been able to analyze that, find out that there's a problem there. If the email address was working correctly, then it would be able to set up that meeting and set those things up for me. So we've got a problem with Kinjal, but let's have a look. I've got another guy who works in my team called Gagan. Gagan's one of those guys that I just have to keep. He's pretty new to the team, so I just have to keep a closer eye on him. So this time I want to know what tickets are allocated to Gagan. that this is what Gagan's working on at the moment. And I'm a little suspicious of one of those tickets. Maybe I don't need a meeting with Gagan, but I just want to know a little bit more. So let me draft an email. So I've just asked Copilot to go and draft that email. So rather than me kind of looking into the ticket, trying to pull some information out, remembering how Gagan likes to be called, those kind of things, Copilot is going off generating that email for me. In this case, I don't want him to send that email because I want to maybe edit a few things, make sure I can. But here you are. So, nice, polite start to it. It talks about the ticket. It gives me some information about that ticket and, saying we'd like an in-depth discussion on it. So again, Copilot has pulled in that information. So that gives us that kind of what's happening today. As a manager, maybe I'd like to know what's been going on in the past year. Pictures paint 1,000 words. So how about a bar chart? So and let's see if it copes with my spelling mistakes. So this is asking it again to go and have a look at the tickets, but this is in the last year, so historic information. And it's then organizing it by priority. Taken a little bit longer in this case because it's got to pull out that information, and unfortunately I have a Teams issue, so it's not produced. It's tried me about giving that information, so we have that there. Very last question. I'm sure we all want to know. There's a general election coming up in the UK, so who is going to win the general election? And in this case, it's actually kind of gone, oh, no. I can't predict that. That's not where I work. So it's kind of got some guardrails of where, what it can look at, where it can work. It's not information that the system has. It can't actually predict it anyway. But talking about those guardrails, that works at two levels. It's what kind of questions can the Copilot answer, but also what happens to the data? Where is that data? So Symphony AI's Copilot, your data is protected. It is totally remaining within your organization. It's not going outside. Everything we're using, every answer, every question is staying completely within your organization. So it's protected. We're providing that security. Let's go back to our slides. So just a few more slides that we have to go through. This one, I just want to say, we've seen the Copilot working in Teams. We've seen the Copilot working with Apex, our Symphony AI solution, but we work with other solutions as well. We work with Workday, we work with ServiceNow. You don't have to have the Symphony AI system. You can provide a Copilot to other systems. You can ask Workday about how many days leave I've got, for example, or as a manager, which of my employees has not taken his leave recently, those kind of things. So again, access through Teams or a browser, access to different systems or knowledge search. So, you know, it may have access to, we may have given it access to travel policies, as we showed before, other use cases and those kind of things. And, you know, we're using that LLM, which I haven't actually mentioned. We're using today, we're using Azure OpenAI. Version 3.5 is what we're using, and we're using security as well. So it's not just existing by itself or existing within Symphony AI solution. We can coexist with other solutions. Just before I finish, just wanted to, the techie in me wants to delve a little bit deeper and just what is happening. So this is asking a similar question to you saw in the demo, which is setting up a 30-minute meeting tomorrow with the analyst that worked on a particular incident. So what actually happens when that question's being asked? The first thing that happens is understanding who's asking it, what's the user context, receiving information about that user, making sure that that user actually has access to that information. As a manager, I had access to who was the analyst working on it. Maybe a user who did not raise that ticket couldn't really say who's working on my mate's ticket. No, that's not something they can access. So making sure you've got access to the right information. The next thing it looks at is, so what am I going to do with this information, this question that's being asked? What do I do? Am I just, looking through some documents? Do I have an action form? Am I looking through a database? So in this case, we're doing two things. We are, finding the name of that analyst, which is finding information. And then we're also performing an action, which is booking a meeting. So the data that we need is about that incident. So where do we get it from? We get it from the ITSM solution. Now that may be Apex, it may be something else like ServiceNow, or maybe another system. It then starts to get the information. So the other information is finding a slot in the meeting calendar that's suitable for both of us, and finally performing that action and setting up that meeting. So there's a number of steps that's going through. It's more than a chatbot, more than just LLM. It's performing actions. It's integrating with other systems. It's classifying data. It's doing that security side of it. So I hope that's given you an insight into Symphony AI's Enterprise IT Copilot. Just to give you a summary of what we've looked at. We've looked at how we can work as an end user. We can work as different roles, end users, analysts. We can work as a manager. We use that security to understand which information it is, and security also, your data is secure when you're using our Copilot. But when I talked about the Harvard Business School example, we talked about the centaurs and cyborgs. The reason I really like that, and I really picked on it, is because I think that illustrates very, very well what our Copilot does. As a centaur, we coexist. So the centaur is Workday's and our Copilot. It's got two heads. It's got the Workday's head and it's got the Copilot head. But we're also integrated. So we're also a cyborg. You saw me with Maxwell generating that resolution summary. It's just within the system. You don't stop and think, oh, is this the AI that's doing it? Or is it something else that's doing it? It's just a natural part of what we're doing. So Symphony AI's Apex Copilot is both a centaur and a cyborg. I hope that's given you an overview of the solution, but I'd love to speak to you and talk to you more. Please reach out to myself, Helen May, or my colleague, Ikram Eslam. Our email addresses are here, So please reach out to us and we can do a more in-depth demonstration, answer some more of your questions, maybe set up a proof of concept. I'd love to hear from you and I look forward to doing so. Thank you for your time today.